So this is the third video, R4c in college algebra. And we are on top of page number 28. We're going to do some with cubes, sum or difference of cubes. Now I would write down what's in that blue box there in your notes, and we're going to go ahead and do one of those. X cubed plus 27 is an example of the top one. And I do this one a little bit different. Let me write down the formula. A cubed plus b cubed equals a plus b times the quantity a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay. So what we're going to do is, again, this is like so crazy, weird, different from what you probably have learned this before, but if I taught this to you before, then you'll hopefully remember. All right, we need the a and the b. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the cube, okay, because it just says a plus b goes in that first parenthesis. So one of the things that's good to do is write that as a cubed plus b cubed. X cubed plus 3 cubed. Instead of 27, we're going to write it as 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So once we do that, what does it say? We're going to take the first term and put it there. Second term, put it there. Okay? Then we can throw everything else out of here. All of this other junk can go away. We just care about that, and we're going to use this to give us our second group. So what does it say? It says whatever a is, whatever this first term is, square it. Put a minus sign, and then it says multiply the first term times the second one. So x times 3, and then a plus sign. Then it says take the second term and square it. What is the second term? 3. We're going to square it. And we're done. Okay? The reason I do that is because kids get so confused about, is it a cubed that I'm squaring to get a to the 6th? Or what is it? Well, if you get rid of all this junk and you just look at this here to fill in these blanks here following these rules, then it's really easy to do these. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's just get rid of all that. All right, so in fact, let's do the a cubed minus b cubed. And that equals quantity a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. All right, so the problem they give you is 16y cubed minus 250. First thing we're going to do is look for something common we can factor out. Okay. Now we're going to write this as a cubed minus b cubed. Okay, see what I did? I changed this to a 2 cubed, and this is already cubed. So 2y cubed. So this 2 is cubed and this y is cubed. All right? So I guess I kind of skipped a step. We could put it in here as 2 cubed y cubed minus 5 cubed, and because that's cubed and that is, then I just put them together and cubed them like that. So that's where that came from, if you had a hard time seeing how that happened. Alright, so there is my mess that I'm going to deal with here. So let's go ahead and do it. A minus b. What is my a? We'll just leave that 2 right there because it's going to have to follow along. My a is 2y. What is my b? My b is 5. Okay? Now I'm going to get rid of everything else. I don't need anything else now. In fact, it's good to get rid of it because it doesn't confuse you. This says take the first term and square it. So I'm going to take 2y and I'm going to square it. This says take the two terms and multiply them. So I have a 2y and a negative 5. So actually I have a negative 10, right? 10y. Then it says add the second term squared. Alright, so that gives me 2 times 2y minus 5 times, what is this? 4y squared minus 10y plus 25. And that's it. Let's go ahead and look at a couple of these from the homework, see if we can kind of get you through some of these. Okay, this is number 113 from the lesson. So let's go ahead and see what we've got here. So first of all, I notice that I have a 2 that's common to everything, so I'm going to take out a 2. Okay, and remember what I said, when you have more than 3 terms, probably the best thing you're going to do is group those. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a brace, put an x cubed plus 3x squared in that grouping symbol. Now notice I have a negative sign, so I've got a grouping symbol here, and everything in here has to change signs. Alright, now let's see if I can factor something out of that. Let's see, an x squared times x plus 3. Can I factor anything out of there? A 4. And I'm left with x plus 3, which is good, because remember, this and this have to be the same. So that gives me a 2, and everything outside the grouping symbols, and everything inside the grouping symbols. Now what do we have here? We have a difference of 2 squares. I can take the square root of both the x squared and the 4, and there's a minus sign between them. So when you have a difference of 2 squares, you make 2 binomials, square root of each term with a plus or minus, and then we've got the x plus 3 at the end that follows along with it. And that's number 113. Alright, let's look at number 101. Okay, can we factor anything out? Yeah, I bet we can factor a 4 out. In fact, we can factor a 4a out. And that leaves me with x squared plus 5x minus, let's see, 56, 28, 14. Okay? And then we can look at this and see if we can factor that into 2 binomials. So we'll kind of drag that along with me. And let's see if there are any numbers we can multiply together, get negative 14 and add and get positive 5. So 2 numbers. Let's see, 7 and 2. So which one gets the plus sign and which one gets the minus? Because I have to multiply a negative and a positive together to get a negative 14. So one of them has to be a positive, one has to be a negative. Which one? Sign here is plus. That means the plus sign goes on the largest number. And that's how you decide. It's that easy. 7 minus 2 is 5. So you got everything right. So x plus 7, x minus 2. So that is a key. And I've never read that anywhere. That you look at this sign, and that is the sign on the largest number. And you're good to go. Now sometimes there'll be a plus sign on both of them. But at least you know the sign is on the largest number, and then you determine what this is going to be in order to get the positive 5 here. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Okay, this one here looks a little bit trickier. This is number 65. And just take one piece at a time. We factor a 4 out. Now I find 2 numbers multiplied together that give me a q squared, and added give me a negative 2pq. Okay? So usually what I do is I take the square root of that and put 2 negatives there like that, because this is actually, remember what I said, if you can you take the square root of the first term, the square root of the second term, if you multiply them together you get a pq. If you double them, do you get this middle term? Yes, you do. So therefore you get 4 times p minus q squared. And that's all you do for that. Just remember when you get to ones like 67, 68, like 68, the key thing about these is difference between 2 cubes. Change that into a cubed. Okay? That will make it easier, and then you use your formula on the top of page 28 in order to solve those. So that's it for lesson review 4.